Hi, Dyslexic Genius here. What I'm going to talk about is pre-assembly of a Brunswick Ultona reproducer. And they're made out of pot metal, and this is the body. And this is all made out of pot metal. And there's a few things we have to do before we assemble the phonograph because the pot metal swells. I've talked to the reproducer. We have to do a lot of work. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take the diamond side and we're going to put it on a flat surface like this, and we're going to make sure it's not warped, and that one's not warped. Then we're going to take the 78 side, and we're going to make sure that's not warped, and it's not warped. And I've sanded it down some on a flat surface with sandpaper using the anvil part of the vise, like this.
Why do you do that?
Just to flatten out all the high parts. And then I also polish this part out. Now, what happens on Brunswicks is this pot metal swells up. Then this pot metal ring swells up. So when you take them apart, they don't want to come apart easily because you're fighting the swollen pot metal. So what we first have to do is we have to trim this side of the ring down so it will fit in here like that. And this is really the diamond side, so we're going to make sure the ring fits in here. And you want to grind those down a little. I'm going to show you that in a moment, so you have a little play. So what we'll do is we'll just use the 78 side, and I'm going to use a belt sander, and I'm going to show you a real quick, easy way. But on the belt sander, you're going to have to keep it flat. You don't want it coming up and down or rolling over. So you want to keep it on the table part of the belt sander. And we'll go over the belt sander. This is the table of the belt sander. You can do this at home if you don't have one, and you can sit here for a long time with 320 grit sandpaper, and I used to do this a lot. So what we need to do is we need to trim this edge so it will fit down because this piece is swollen up. So what we're going to do, we're going to turn it on. First I'm going to hit the flat part. Now I'm going to do the outside ring, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my finger up here as I turn it. You'll see me with my fingers, I'm pushing in and around and down. So I'm pushing down and into the belt, but I'm not driving it hard into the belt. I'm just gently getting the edge. You'll see. And the trick is you want to keep it rotating at the same speed or the same RPM when you're doing this. You're going to rotate the ring and you just go that. And then you'll have to come over and then fit it to see if it pops into the reproducer again. So we'll go over there. And it pops right in. That's good. And we'll try the 78 side here. And that pops in. After you've done the outside of the ring, you want a little play here. So when the pot metal starts to swell up again over years. Also, all the screw holes will still match up and everything. Then what you're going to do is you're going to get a little burr on that outside edge there on the bottom. You're going to take some 320 and you'll just clean that little part off like that. Now comes the fun part of rebuilding one. We've set the rings so they fit. That fits in place. So you can take your finger, just drive that in and it drops down. That one's good. The diamond disc side pops in. Now what we have to do is the reproducer fits onto this tone arm part, and we have a weight that goes back and forth. And this is the weight it's out at the moment. And now what we have to do, in the previous video I talked about getting rid of the high area. So now when I insert it in, everything smooth and nice. And then what I've done is I've taken my no-goo tool and I've deburred this outside. On my video of an Edison C called Hot Rodding in Edison C, I did the same thing to the Brunswick. I do this to all reproducers I rebuild. If I rebuild a C or an H, I always do all that. So I've just deburred that to let the sound waves come out, and it gets rid of the machine work. And then on the back side here, I took my other no-goo tool like this. This is a deburring. I stuck it in here, and I gave it a couple of twists. Now what we have to do is we have to assemble the plunger. This end here is what hits these holes here. But before we assemble the plunger, you're going to find a small drill and I dropped it and it went away, but I can still do this with a screwdriver. You're going to get a small drill that's the same size as this hole. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then we have the insert. So you're going to take a small drill, and with your hand, you'll just go in here like this. And what you're doing is you're deburring this little indentation where this end fits. And that makes everything run smoothly. So now how do we assemble this? We need a little bit of oil because the top piece is going to be going up and down like this. And we're not going to use a lot of oil. What we're going to use is my chisel X-Acto knife. And we're going to paint the bottom piece just a little bit. And that's the piece that hits over here. And we're going to insert the spring. And now we're going to take the nut, goes here, and we're going to drop them in place, like so. Now, you just take your finger, and you can start it up like that. See how I can screw this in? Now you're going to take the X-Acto knife, you're going to get a wee bit on there, and you're just going to dribble it on the inside right here. Just a wee bit of oil. Now we're going to take a small screwdriver, and we're just going to crank this in till it's flush with the casting right here. So we're going to go one little more. So we're flush with the casting. So the nut's flush with the casting. And then we have the nut here like this. So now we take this little cutout piece. That's what that's for. We're going to insert this like that. Now, when we turn it up to the top, listen. We're going to check the tension. So we're going to go all the way around. Now we're going to give it just a pinch. You know, we're going to go from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock here. There we go. And you're going to get it so it, you hear the click? You're going to get it to where you hear the click. And you want to come around and hear the click. That one's good. Now we've cleaned up this. We have fixed this so it pivots smoothly and it's not hanging up on the inside. And when you turn it around, there's where it makes the music. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take the straight razor with this edge and you're going to come around like this. And just make sure there's nothing in there, no burrs, just dig out the stuff. And then you will do it to the other side. And that is the pre-assembly for a Brunswick Ultona. But it's critical that you get these rings to fit in and pop in. Because if you haven't tested this and you start to assemble the reproducer, and we have a gasket here, now we've put a diaphragm in, we've put the needle bar in, now we're going to put the last white gasket material in, and then you're going, oh, I can't get that ring down. That's why. So this is all the pre-assembly for an Ultona, and that's my tip for the day.